What do platypus piss, electrical fires, underground frogs, and illegal Picassos have in common? Dogs, sniffing all of it for work. Would you crawl through a leech-infested swamp to sniff amphibian piss in the name of science? No? That's fine. A dog already did it from a paddleboard. Australia, the land of venomous everything and creatures that look like they were designed by someone on mushrooms. Case in point, the platypus. It's a beaver duck with venomous ankle spurs that lays eggs. So of course, scientists want to study it. So let's talk about the most Australian job imaginable. A dog on a paddleboard sniffing for platypus pee. This is not a fever dream. It's conservation science in Victoria, where two elite dogs, Kip the Kelpie and Moss the Labrador, aka the paddle pups, are helping researchers find one of Australia's most elusive weirdos, the platypus. Platypuses are officially listed as vulnerable in Victoria and endangered in South Australia, but you try finding one. They're nocturnal, underwater, live in burrows, and apparently spend most of their lives dodging and hiding from researchers. So humans useless. Cameras not stealthy enough. Traps too invasive. Solution, dogs on paddleboards. Yes, these dogs have learned to balance on paddleboards, cruise down creeks, and sniff out trace DNA and urine molecules left behind by platypuses. They do this without disturbing the animal, the burrow, or the fragile river ecosystem. One of the only issues is stopping the dogs from doing the zoomies mid-search. And it's not just adorable, it's effective. According to scientists at Healesville Sanctuary, these paddle pups are now reaching previously inaccessible creek systems where high rainfall or terrain once blocked human surveys. They sniff the site, wag their tails, and essentially told the scientists, Barry the platypus was here Tuesday at 4:13 p.m. and I think he's a bit stressed and going through an existential crisis. I mean, the level of detail is insane. In over 100 years of platypus study, no one has ever witnessed one lay an egg in the wild. These dogs might be our best shot at finally cracking that bizarre prehistoric mystery without traumatizing the animal or wrecking the habitat. Oh, and what about frog-sniffing dogs? I'm sure you want to hear about them. They're out there in Australia too. These dogs detect endangered burrowing frogs by picking up skin secretions and hormone residue underground. One dog in Queensland sniffed out 77 frogs along a 5-kilometre stretch. The human researchers, they found 0. Embarrassing for humans. But, my dog can't handle the concept of late lunch. And yet these dogs are paddleboarding through swamps, sniffing endangered species out of extinction, and somehow still doing it all while looking smug as hell in their little vests. Australia? Weird, for sure. Dogs? Heroes. Always. Ever wanted a dog that could stop your vape pen, laptop, and sex toy from exploding in your suitcase? And maybe find a micro SD card full of horrifying internet crimes hidden behind a light switch? Lucky you, these dogs exist, and they're saving the world one sniff at a time. Welcome to the fiery world of lithium-ion battery detection dogs, or as I like to call them, sniffer dogs for the apocalypse. As the planet transitions to electric everything, e-bikes, scooters, laptops, power tools, your cousin's Bluetooth-enabled dildo, we've also created a thrilling new game called Will It Catch Fire and Ruin the Warehouse? Lithium fires are no joke. They start spontaneously, burn hotter than Satan's armpits, and often happen during transport or storage. You know what catches them before they go boom? Dogs. These elite sniffers are trained to detect trace gases and electrolytes released by damaged or overheating batteries. The smells are so subtle even industrial sensors throw up their hands and say good luck to you. These dogs work in cargo ports, recycling centres, battery processing plants, and anywhere someone's hoarding e-waste. If there's a busted vape hidden in a container full of knockoff earbuds and printer cartridges, the dog finds it before Karen's Amazon order turns into a war zone. Studies show these dogs can detect lithium-related compounds at parts per trillion, which is like detecting a single molecule of regret in a swinger's retreat. But wait, that's not all these miracle snoots can do. Let's talk about electronic storage detection dogs like Nala, a Labrador working with the Seattle Police Department. Nala isn't here for your gaming rig. She's here to find evidence of crimes against children. She's trained to detect triphenylphosphine oxide, which is a mouthful and also a compound found in devices like USB drives, micro SD cards, smartphones, and hard drives. Yeah, criminals think they're clever hiding these behind wall plates, wedged into power strips, whatever, but Nala, she smells one of those tiny bastards and she's pawing at the wall like there's a squirrel stuck in the plaster. During a real case, a dog like her helped uncover 33 spy cameras in a man's apartment. Ew. Cameras human officers missed. 33. That's truly creepy. Handlers say these dogs find up to 30% more devices than human teams alone. And yes, they're highly food motivated, but don't worry. It's not some dystopian sniff or starve program. They get fed no matter what. But the big reward only comes right after a correct find. That's the power of snacks. There's over 130 ESD dogs in the US, and they've helped crack some of the most disturbing internet crime cases in history, including Jared from Subway and Olympic coach Marvin Sharp. One expert says they've now surpassed arson dogs in usefulness because, in his words, the way the world is right now, yikes, a bit bleak. Thank goodness for dogs. Move over drug-sniffing dogs, we're going high class. Welcome to the world of art smuggling detection and cash-sniffing dogs, the heroes of Customs, Border Patrol, and Interpol's sexiest spreadsheets. Let's talk art first. Dogs are trained to detect the smells of aged paint, canvas glue, rare wood preservatives, and even the bacteria that grow on ancient artifacts. That means they can walk into a shipping container and be like, that crate says kitchen tiles, but I smell Renaissance fresco and maybe even some surrealism there. Some of these dogs have helped bust entire trafficking rings. One Labrador in Germany sniffed out a collection of stolen Greek relics hidden in boxes of, wait for it, garden gnomes. That's international crime solved by a creature who still licks his own butthole, but it's not all stolen chalices and Baroque oil paintings. Some dogs are following a far stinkier trail. Cold, hard cash. Cash stinks, not just like capitalism, but like ink, mold, sweat, and cocaine. A lot of cocaine. These dogs can find suitcases stuffed with notes wrapped in dryer sheets, buried in car tires, or shoved inside frozen chickens. One dog in the US discovered $3 million in undeclared cash being smuggled inside shampoo bottles, and now Japan's getting in on the game. At Narita Airport, custom agents just unveiled their first ever banknote detection dogs. 2 black Labradors who are trained to sit quietly whenever they sniff out a suspicious suitcase. And no, they don't need probable cause, they just need their nostrils. The operation's goal? Stop people from smuggling massive amounts of yen out of the country for money laundering. According to customs officials, criminals have been tucking cash into carry-ons like their socks and toothpaste. Sometimes over 100 million yen, which is like 650,000 US dollars. They shove it all in there in one go, but these dogs aren't fooled. At the launch event, they sniffed out decoys posing as travelers and immediately sat down front of the guilty suitcases, tags wagging, basically saying, "Excuse me, officer, this Samsonite smells like fraud." Currency and art dogs are now assisting in over 30 countries, working with border agents and museum investigators. They've recovered over $100 million worth of stolen cultural property and contraband cash in the last 5 years. They don't need badges. They don't even carry weapons. No, they don't know what a museum is. But give them a scent and a snack, and suddenly they are the most dependable international dogs of mystery. Mystery solving. What kind of dog can find a 1,000-year-old skeleton buried beneath your Airbnb? Welcome to the creepiest job in dog history. Archaeological cadaver detection. These dogs are basically walking time machines with a nose for dead things. Forget crime scenes. These dogs aren't sniffing for the body that someone hid in a trunk. They're sniffing for the skeleton under the monastery from 1,200 years ago. Trained on trace scents of human decomposition, they can locate ancient burial sites, unmarked graves, and lost battlefields, often in places where humans don't even know where to start. They've sniffed out Viking cemeteries, Roman crypts, prehistoric settlements, and yes, mass graves from war crimes that the history books conveniently skipped over. How accurate are they? One dog in Croatia located a 2,000-year-old burial site buried under 3 feet of rock and concrete. In Texas, a dog located lost graves from 19th century freed slave communities, giving families the chance to finally mark them with dignity. These dogs, they detect volatile organic compounds associated with human decay, even after hundreds of years. They're more accurate than ground-penetrating radar and can cover far more terrain in far less time. One study found them 90% accurate, even when the soil was saturated and full of competing smells. My dog still thinks that animals on the TV disappear into the next room. These dogs are out here solving 800-year-old mysteries like, who died here in the Crusades and where did the monks bury their secrets? Fantastic! What if your landlord says, it's just old wiring, but the dog says, get the hell out of here before it explodes? Let's talk about a dog's job that could literally save your ass. Electrical fault and leak detection. Electrical fault detection dogs are trained to sniff out ozone. It's a gas that releases when electronics spark, overheat, or melt down. So yes, your house can smell like it's about to become toast, and the only one who'll notice is the dog. They're used in data centers, high-rise buildings, factories, airports, anywhere the electrical system might be preparing to commit arson. Dogs can detect minute traces of ozone leaking from walls, sealed units, or power panels. They can do it long before human inspectors would even raise an eyebrow. But that is just their warm-up act. Some of these working dogs, like Jack the Springer Spaniel in the UK, are now sniffing out underground cable faults. And we're not talking cute little sidewalk cracks, we're talking faults 2 meters under tarmac and dirt. Jack can detect just a few drops of leaking oil from a buried cable and signal exactly where the fault is by pointing a paw. And he's not messing around. This guy's got a 100% success rate over 30 digs. Engineers say without Jack, they'd be punching holes across pavements and playgrounds like caffeine-drunk gophers. That's because when old oil-filled power cables start to fail, they release hydrocarbon gases. Human noses? Useless. Jack's nose. Basically a diagnostic MRI made of fur. And this isn't just about fixing things after the lights go out. These dogs help prevent blackouts before they happen. They're part of a growing frontline of fault detection, working alongside drones, thermal imaging, and real-time grid analytics. But electrical work isn't the only game in town, no. Meet Charlie, a water leak detection dog working full-time in Texas. Charlie's a black lab shepherd mix with a ball obsession and a nose trained to sniff out chlorine, a chemical added to water by Utilities. When a water pipe leaks underground, that chlorine turns to gas and drifts up through the soil. Charlie follows the trail. At work, Charlie zigzags through brush or roadside grass with his handler, and when he finds a scent, he drops into a bough and locks eyes. Here, he says. He gets a ball as a reward because, to Charlie, fetch is a religion. And he's good at his job. Since starting, Charlie has found over 150 leaks in a 6-county service area, saving thousands of gallons of water and preventing costly damage. Traditional tools like acoustic mics or infrared scans, they miss a lot. Charlie doesn't. He's one of only 4 full-time water leak detection dogs in the US, and he's changing the way utility companies think about maintenance. When Charlie marks a spot, crews dig, no questions. Whether it's hydrocarbon vapors from failing cables or faint chlorine plumes from a cracked water main, these dogs are picking up on threats humans can't detect. And the stakes aren't small. We're talking about blackouts, burst mains, structural fires, chemical spills. The future of infrastructure? Sure, it includes AI, drones, and predictive sensors, but it also includes a working vest, a wagging tail, and a tennis ball that smells like victory. If you enjoyed this episode all about working dogs, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Share with some dog-loving friends. And join us in believing that all dogs are good dogs. All dog out.